all, greetings from the apocalypse. Today I'm going to show you a little bit of a finishing technique. This is what you do when your bezel it's not like 100% tight around your stone, it's wiggling maybe just like a little tiny bit, or you have a couple little spaces around there and you just need that last little you know what I mean, to get it really finished. I'm going to be using the #1 tool from my Master Setting tool set, the bezel roller, and I'm going to be showing you basically a two-handed technique that I use for finishing up my settings all the time. Beautiful tourmaline rose cut here, and Jessica's done a beautiful job of setting. It's almost done, but a lot of times toward the very end, I'll use this this technique and with a leather mallet to show how to really finish it off. It's especially good if your stone has a tiny bit of wiggle or you have a couple little tiny spaces left. You know, it's just like that finishing touch. I don't usually do this if you haven't, you know, really gone around at least a few rounds. So this is how you do it. This is one of my setting tools, which eventually you'll all be able to get. So you set it, hold it in your left hand, like I'm right-handed, right? And you rest it on your pinky with about half of your pinky sticking out below it. Okay, and this is a weird hand position because this is not a hand position you will have used for anything else, but you will get used to it and it is going to save your life when it comes to setting. Okay, so, and if you'll notice, everything moves together. There's no like separate finger doing things and whatever. You just rest it against here, and then however I move it, it'll be my whole hand. Because, and the reason you leave half your pinky sticking out is then that's the part that sits on your wood or on your piece or whatever to hold it up to the right height. Because, and you see at this point, it's not straight up and down, but I mean, it's probably like at 80 degrees rather than 90, let's say. And I can just lightly tap. It doesn't take a lot of pressure, but this last little angle will completely finish it off. It'll make sure your stone is really, really tight. It'll give you, because also notice the edge already just from doing that little bit, how it really smooths out. You know, it's like almost like a pre-polish on top of finishing the setting.
And so you're going again north, south, east, west on that.
Well, at this point, honestly, it's held in place, so it's not really going to go anywhere. So it isn't as important, like what, you know, are you working the corners, because it's already held in place. So you see how I just lightly tap and just sort of roll it back and forth, and you notice when I'm rolling it, my whole hand is going. So this way, it doesn't take as much coordination as you think. In other words, you know what I'm saying? Like your hand is one, that's all it is. You get it in the right position, and you notice when I'm doing it, all I maybe do is rock it back and forth just a little tiny bit. And you will get used to doing this, and it's really efficient. And I do this most of the time, at least a little tiny bit, at that very last stage, to make sure there's no wiggle, to get rid of any like tiny little spaces.
So you don't work with soft stones like opal or something?
I do.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Even with opal you do that?
Yes, but that might be a do what I say and not what I do. It's one of those things you absolutely can, but you need to make sure that you are already reasonably adept with this technique before you do it. Any kind of quartz or tourmaline or whatever should be totally fine. If you're talking about setting an opal, you can, but you would want to wait until you've got some good hand control before you attempt that. And next time we do an opal, we'll do a video on it and I'll show you how to make sure everything's okay. Because opals really aren't that hard to deal with, but you just have to know how to deal with them, if you know what I mean. So if you take a look though, look how beautiful that looks. Like I could probably make one more circuit around the whole thing to be absolutely positively sure everything is there, but it's just like a finishing step. It fills any little spaces, it just smooths it out. It's really, it's nice. And also, you know how a lot of times you're left with that little edge that sticks up? It takes that edge and presses it down. You know, it just makes it look much more finished, I think. This is not like, ha, you know what I mean? As Melissa would say, this is Sparta hammering. This is just la 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 la, you know, a little tapping. Because it doesn't really take much. Okay? And if you want, come in and take a look. Look how beautiful that looks with that rose cut. Like, we'll still polish the top just a little bit with a Swifty, but honestly, you could just leave it. Like, it looks quite nice just the way it is. Okay?
Yeah.
So Jessica, you ready? So Jessica has done a gorgeous job on this. She made a beautiful tight fitting bezel. She made the chain, the jump rings, everything, and it looks gorgeous. Now, if you look at the setting, honestly, we could leave it just the way it is. It's beautiful. It looks really good. But since when is beautiful enough for us? So we're going to do just a tiny bit of extra polishing just on the very top of it. Now, the reason that you can't just use any wheel is that most polishing wheels will scratch your stones. So you have to be really cautious of that. So I always use the Swifties. We'll be selling them on our website. They are made specifically to polish, but not fuck up your stone, which is extremely important that you not get your wheels mixed up and start polishing away, because you can take the shine off your stone, and I can tell you that that sucks dick big time, okay? So don't do that. So, you see this like square wheel? This is nice because what we can do is we can literally run it right along the top of here. And just like anytime you're using the flex shaft, you want to normally think about it like you're peeling a carrot. You want to get yourself in a really comfortable position with your forearms and your hands on the table, and you want to make sort of a tripod. So I hold the flex shaft like this with my 4 fingers and put my thumb out, and then my thumb either goes on one of my other fingers or on the piece itself. And that way you're really supported. And you want to work toward yourself. You also only want to work in a spot that you can get to easily. You know, you don't want to be like trying to, you know, reach across or whatever. Just turn the piece around as you go. Okay? So I'm going to use a little foot pedal. And
I'm gonna
give
come
you a
around.
demo. And you notice also, by the way, you know, I'm not like up in the air. You want to be very supported when you do this. See, just like you're peeling a carrot. So you pick a section and stroke it top to bottom. And then you see how that'll just like smooth and shine that up. That's all you do, because this doesn't need, this setting is already very clean. So it really doesn't need very much at all. And remember, when you're using a polishing wheel or almost any wheel, if you hold the wheel in one spot, you're just going to start to create a depression. That's not what you're trying to do. So you want to pick a section and stroke it so that you're sort of smoothing out that little section. Okay, just like that. So really, you can go the rest of the way around. This really doesn't need very much at all. Okay? That's not your first project.
Not first.
Look at
It's like-
Jessica's necklace. I'll get the whole face view. Look at that. Oh, yes. Work it, girl.
Smiling behind the
Yeah, she's smiling behind her mask. That looks amazing. Congratulations.
It really is gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
It's so clean and it's perfect.
Thank you. It's a
Gauge
gift.
is great.
So here's a little close-up of Jessica's beautiful necklace. I'm so proud. Look how good it looks. Fabulous.